Hello EFD squad and welcome back to Scout Report. As you've definitely seen by now, PSG are trying to winkle Neymar out of Barcelona. And if the Brazilian ends up dunking on Ligue 1, Barca are going to need a replacement. Here are 5 players we think could fill the superstars' size 9s. Same size as me, so, you know. 5. Antoine Griezmann. To be totally honest, we're going to struggle to replace everything Neymar does with one player. The 25-year-old is a phenomenon, creating more chances per game than any other La Liga player last season, bar James Rodriguez, whilst leading the division for dribbles completed too, bagging 13 goals as well in the process. One man who could easily match Neymar's goal output though is Antoine Griezmann, who bagged 16 last season. Atleti may not want to sell to a direct rival, but the Frenchman retains a €100 million buyout clause in his new contract, meaning Barca could pick him up for less than half of the mooted €220 million windfall from PSG. Neymar excels in getting shots off in dangerous positions in La Liga, with 2.4 efforts from inside the box each game, about the same as Karim Benzema. Griezmann is actually not as good, only getting 1.5 shots off in the area, but in the Champions League he's outperforming the Barca man with 1.9 to 1.4. Griezmann can create too, laying on 8 assists in La Liga, whilst Neymar got 11. However, that gap would likely widen in the future, as the Atleti man can only create 1.6 chances a game, less than half of Neymar's 3.6. But the former Sociedad striker would fit nicely into Barcelona's passing game. And despite playing in a less possession-based side, he has a higher pass accuracy than Neymar, and he loses the ball just 1.3 times a match. By comparison, Barca's number 11 loses possession 3 times. With Grease joining Suarez in a front 2 and Messi dropping back into the hole, the Blaugrana would still have the best front 3 in world football and weaken a direct rival. That's a win-win if you ask us. 4. Eden Hazard. With 5.7 successful dribbles a match last year, Neymar was miles ahead of the next best total, which was former Barcelona youngster Alen Halilovic on 4.9. So, who better to replace him than Eden Hazard, who completed more dribbles in 2016 than anyone in Europe bar Neymar and Ousmane Dembele. Oh, and Wilfried Zaha. Weird. Hazard is also better at taking care of the ball than any of his direct rivals. Despite his slight physique and the Premier League's reputation for rough defending, the Belgian has a 78% success rate when he attempts to beat his man. That blows away Neymar's 61% and is actually closer to Spurs' Moussa Dembele, who manages an insane 84% when he gets on the field. Hazard also has a ton of end product once he gets past the defender. The wide man scored 16 goals last year and added 5 assists, thanks to a sky-high 2.5 key passes a game, very close to Neymar's 2.7. Admittedly, he is a less prolific shooter, with just 2.3 shots per game, way below Chelsea's other wide options, Willian and Pedro, and barely more than central midfielder Cesc Fabregas. But his decision-making remains excellent, with 55% of his efforts testing the keeper, making him more accurate than Sergio Aguero. After 2 titles in 3 years, it will take some going to convince Chelsea to part with their star man. But the lure of Barcelona would surely be irresistible to the player, even if the price would make Ernesto Valverde wince. 3. Philippe Coutinho. The best all-rounder on our list, Philippe Coutinho would be a versatile option. Barca could play him in midfield, allowing Messi to push on, or fit him into a front 3, where his willingness to move and interchange would add some unpredictability to the Blaugrana attack. Having just turned 25, Coutinho is a real Swiss Army knife, and despite an injury-hit campaign last season, has fantastic numbers. He scored 13 league goals and assisted 7 more, meaning he was directly involved in a goal every 112 minutes, remarkably close to his countryman's 111. If Barca bought the Liverpool forward, they'd have a player on the verge of becoming one of the world's very best. Last season, Coutinho created more chances per game than Leo Messi, completed more dribbles than Iniesta, and shot more than Harry Kane. The little man is undeniably shot happy, with more than half of his efforts coming from outside the box, but he's also a sniper, maintaining the same shot accuracy as Hazard at a tasty 55%. This rumour has come round time and time again, suggesting that the Catalans have already got Pip in their sights. And given the success of their last acquisition from Liverpool, who can blame them? 2. Thomas Lemar. As well as his incredible talent, Neymar's value to Barcelona lies in his age. With Messi and Suarez both 30, the club needs Neymar to build around as their other superstars get old. So perhaps Thomas Lemar, at just 21, could be a good solution. A virtual unknown at the start of the campaign, Lemar finished it with 11 goals and 14 assists across Ligue 1 and the Champions League, helping Monaco to the title and a European semi. Though Bernardo Silva has received more attention, the Frenchman actually has better creative numbers than his former teammate. His passing is more reliable, with 84% to Silva's 81%, and he produces more chances, with 2.1 to the little Portuguese's 1.6. Despite playing a more central role than Manchester City's new signing, Lemar's dribbling compares well. With 1.6 completed take-ons per game, he's down on Silva's 2, but he actually succeeds slightly more often, with a whopping 59% to Silva's 57%. That's not far off Neymar's 61%. Basic maths. Where Lemar still needs to improve is his shot selection. 2/3 of his shots come from distance, far higher than we tend to see in elite forwards. In fact, Lemar scored twice from 39 shots outside the box last season. That's a 5% conversion rate, while netting 7 times from 19 shots inside the area. That's a huge 37% conversion rate. With figures like that, it shouldn't be hard to convince him to stop trying the screamers. And with only Arsenal trying hard for the youngster, Barca should be able to secure their man with minimal difficulty. You know, because Arsenal aren't in the Champions League, so. 1. Emil Forsberg. Blonde bombshell Emil Forsberg may not have the star power of the other names on our list, but the RB Leipzig attacker had an incredible campaign last year with 19 assists. That is mental. He created more goals than anyone else in Europe's top 5 leagues, and one more than Leo Messi and Mesut Ozil put together. That's a product of Forsberg's brilliant vision in the final third. He led the Bundesliga in terms of chances created last season with 3.6 a game, outstripping Franck Ribéry and Ousmane Dembélé, despite playing in a team with less attacking talent. He's also pretty useful in front of goal as the Swede, with over half of his shots coming from under 18 yards out, and a tally of 8 league goals. That's more than Thomas Müller, who could only manage 5 in roughly the same amount of minutes. And as you'd expect from a Bundesliga player, Forsberg has a great work ethic, which Barcelona may find useful, as they've often suffered in the past from having forwards who don't track back. Now, last season Neymar won possession just 1.5 times per match, while Suarez was on 0.8 and Messi was on just 0.7. In contrast, Forsberg makes 2.7 tackles and interceptions a match, nearly the same as Paul Pogba and more than Eric Dyer. At 25 years old, Forsberg is hitting his physical peak, and his huge creative talent would allow Messi and Suarez to focus solely on finding space and sticking it in the net. Plus, he'd cost half as much as the rest of our list, allowing Barca to scrape together a nice bid for Marco Verratti. Perfecto. So that was this week's Scout Report, guys. Would you swap anyone out? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this, go and watch yesterday's Stat Wars The Champions, the opening episode. Exciting times. And as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe.